When you're out swimming in the ocean and a big wave comes, instead of trying to swim into it, it's good to swim under the wave and allow it to pass over you. When chaos is happening in the world, instead of getting caught up in the wave of it, go underneath it. Emotionally anchor yourself, ground down, ground back into yourself, and ride out that wave. Hi everyone, Therese here. Welcome to this week's Karma Cards. I hope you're doing well, my lovely friend. So, man, the message this week, interesting one. The last few spirit circles that have happened, the cosmos has been putting out a code, letting us know that we're in a time of testing. And when we went deeper into this subject with my team said they wanted us to realize that this test is not about punishment. It is not a negative energy to be tested. In fact, they said the reason that we're being tested is so we could see who we really are. And they were like, how else could we show you? You can't be told who you really are, but you must experience it. And so by experiencing these tests, we are able to see who we really are. Now, that is a super empowering message. It emboldens me when I think about it. And yet at the same time, tests aren't always fun. Who loves a test? I'm not a big fan of tests myself. So I wanted to share that with you so that you could hold that in your consciousness if you feel like these are trying times for you. It is not a form of punishment, right? We haven't done anything wrong. We're not cursed as a species. We are being tested so that we could see our true metal. And what's interesting is the card that is associated from the tarot with the test is the 14th card, which is Temperance. And what it shows is an angel standing and mixing two chalices together. And there is precise application. And the other term for this, so the test is associated with temperance, but the other term for this is alchemy. So testing your metal, right? And alchemy is taking a base metal and turning it into a precious metal, turning it into gold. So this test is meant to break away all that base understanding of yourself, the lower understanding of yourself, the lesser understanding, the things the ego holds on to. And it is purifying and alchemizing you to recognize your true metal, your preciousness. And so I hope that when the time period you're going through feels bumpy or rough and you're starting to lose a little hope or have doubt, that you understand that this is being presented to you not to take you down, but to allow you to rise through it, right? To rise above it and to transcend any lower idea you had about who you truly are and recognize your unique and beautiful preciousness to creation. By the way, before I forget, the next full moon spirit circle is coming up on this Monday, September 20th. And if you would like to join us for the full moon spirit circle, you can go to this link right here. It is such a powerful, positive energy, and really being surrounded by like-minded people who are also raising their consciousness and focusing intently in the direction that they desire. It does so much. It does so much for you personally. It does amazing things for the group, but it raises the frequency around you. You literally lift the energy up around you, and the highest frequency always wins. So whoever is holding the highest frequency, they don't drop to the other frequencies around them. They raise others up to a higher frequency. So if you feel compelled to join us, we would love to have you there. And again, you can go to this link to join the Spirit Circle, to do some beautiful full moon release work, and do psychic Q&A with me afterwards. I also wanted to share with you a snippet of a conversation I had today with a lovely client. And we were doing a practice where we were communicating with our future selves and getting information. And I highly, highly recommend this practice. In fact, future me tells me that she practices it every day. I'm still working on getting there. But I tell you what, it feels really good to tap into the timeline you want. You have to get really specific about who you are, where you are, what you're experiencing, and the desires you want met. And when you lock in on that, that is the timeline that you travel down with your mind using that quantum field where you're sort of collapsing time and space and coming together and one with this future, this very specific future version of you. Because remember, there are millions of you out there. There are millions of you on millions of timelines, and you want to lock into the one that you desire. So when you can identify that, you meet with them and have a chat. Well, we were doing that today in a session, and I had asked her future self, what did she stop doing? And it was really interesting because she was getting similar answers that my future self had given me. And one of these answers was, I stopped waiting to be happy. I stopped waiting for the outside world to do something specific so that I could feel joy. And what was really interesting is what came in with that conscious awareness is, those outside world experiences don't come in until we show up first. So notice how we're trained, right? And I talk about that social conditioning, the control matrix training. We're trained to wait for the condition to appear and then we can enjoy ourselves. And that's backwards and false. And it will continue to collapse and fall apart. It doesn't work anymore. Have you noticed that? Have you noticed that the outside world is kind of a stinking mess right now? And yet, people are still manifesting beauty in their lives. People are still manifesting joy. If you look for it, you will find it. So how are they doing it? Well, according to our future selves, you show up as it. You give yourself permission to feel that joy and happiness now. You give yourself permission to really feel that creativity or whatever it is you're looking and waiting for. You let yourself have it now, and then the outside conditions start to manifest around you. So I thought that was a really interesting point, because if you find yourself waiting for the world to straighten its ass out so that you can be happy and calm and peaceful and joyful or whatever it is you want, you're probably finding that you've been waiting a long time. And if you're like me, you're getting really impatient. So the real magic here is to identify that feeling that you want and give yourself permission to have it now. No outside condition has to occur for you to have permission to experience it now. Now let's do some karma cards. So for those of you who are new to karma cards, welcome, and let me tell you how we play. I have 3 decks here. The planets, signs of the zodiac, and the houses of astrology. And what I do is I call in my team and I ask them, what message do you have for us this week? And I get 2 sets of answers. One in red, which are action related, and one in blue, which are outcome related. And all you have to do is tune in with your intuition and feel, what do you need right now? Do you need action related answers, red, or outcome related answers, blue? And if you want both, you can always take both. And while you are intuitively deciding what you need, let me tell you the timing for this reading. This reading is for today, September 15th through September 22nd. And the flavor of this reading. Okay, we've got Venus, one of the most happy and beautiful cards we can get. Thank you, Venus. In the sign of Virgo, which is where our sun is currently at. In the first house, which is the house of self. It's our identity or how we are seeing ourselves. So let's dive in. For those of you choosing action, your spiritual action at this time is to cherish the serving of others immediately. Woo! I love it. To cherish the serving of others immediately. Really quick, for those who are new to hearing about this, service to others is the positive polarity. And that is where the higher timeline is. That's how we get in. When our thoughts start turning to, how can I help you? We raise our frequency up. So this is saying love on that. Love on that energy. How can I be of service? Right? How can I help you today? When our mindset switches to that, we are giving such amazing value to other people, right? And it's raising their frequency. Suddenly all that feeling of wishing we had support, be that support, show up for someone else, and it creates that beautiful cascading ripple effect. And now don't wait. Now is the time. Let's get on this higher timeline and stay there. And every time you feel yourself slipping back, every time you feel yourself slipping into panic, doubt, despair, anger, frustration, see if you can first, accept yourself, love yourself through that, but then turn your attention to, how can I make this better today? What can I do for someone else? Right? Even if it's just smiling at someone as you go for a walk to cool off, giving that little smile, a sincere smile to someone else, is an act of service. Holding space for a friend who needs to talk and just being willing to listen, right? Showing up with that coffee for your coworker just because when they do it for you, it feels so good. Little acts like this are indeed positive polarity acts. It doesn't have to be something grand, but do it right now. Your mental action at this time: enjoy the details of the way you project yourself. So I love this because I never look at these before I read them to you. I'm reading it with you live. So I always get so excited when the message that precedes the card reading is a match. It just gets me all like, so excited. Okay, so the way you project yourself. Remember what I was talking about, future you? And I was saying you can get in touch with that version, the version you desire right now. And what is the key? Details, baby. Think about what you want your life to look like. And the more detailed you can get about this, the better. Because it's like what it's doing when you do that is like tuning a radio, right? You're like trying to get that perfect channel where there's no static, no overlap, no extra noise. It's that channel where the music is coming in just crystal clear, and it's all about the detail. So this process can be highly enjoyable because the more you lock into it, lock into the feeling, what you're seeing around you, the way something smells near you while you're experiencing it, where you're at, what you're wearing, how your hair is done, all those little details, they might seem insignificant, but you're honing in finally on that desired timeline. And while you're doing it, you really do feel that sensation of joy, all that desire, or I wish something was going this way. Well, as soon as you allow your mind to tune into it, that turns into appreciation and gratitude. You start to feel as if you have it, which is exactly what you want to feel to start manifesting it. As soon as you feel like you have it, you're already molecularly building it in time and space, in the ectoplasm of pre-matter template, okay? I know those are a lot of like woo-woo words, but I'm serious, you're doing it. So the more you can get the details down to the color of the shoes you're wearing, right? And the style and everything, the more you can tune it in, the more you start to feel it's real. And that creates that gratitude, which creates the molecular blueprint, which means it's coming. The physical action at this time: charm, art, and beauty are the way to do what you must and do it on your own. So remember, you catch more flies with honey than you do with vinegar, right? This is how Venus would approach it. Sovereignty is a skill set that the sovereignty is your birthright, but it's also a skill we have to develop. How do we do that? We do that by recognizing that we have a right. We have a right to choose. We recognize our boundaries, what is okay and what isn't okay, right? That you are unique and you are on your own path. No one's path is quite like yours. And so to be authentic on it, you must walk in that sovereign, protected, grounded way. And it's so easy to get attitude around because, right, you're finally starting to like I'm doing my attitudes. This is my attitude stance. You're starting to like defend not defend yourself. Well, you can be defensive, but it's like you're finally getting, this is my space. I am allowed, I am worthy. I get to take up space. I was given this space. This is my right? Like this is my space. And it is easy for the ego to latch onto that and go right into attitude, right? Like, give me space. That's my, we start to get a little too sassy. And even though that sassy energy can maybe help start the engine and get us started, if it's not finessed, right? We can be maybe a little tactless, a little blunt, a little over the top, a little defensive, a little combative, right? That can come in, and that's of course ego. So we want to balance that powerful in your sovereignty energy with the charm, art, and beauty of grace, of compassion, of recognizing that there's not just one sovereign being here. We are all sovereign beings, right? And when we realize that we're all sovereign beings, there's nothing to project onto. There's no superiority around that. It's respect. It's mutual. Oh, you are a sovereign being too. I see you, right? I see you. And that's that mutual respect. And once we start doing that, it's a lot easier to own the space, and there's no ego involved. All right, beautiful. Let's talk about outcomes. So if you chose outcomes in Venus, in Virgo, in the first house of self, here is your spiritual outcome. The attraction of the methods for the healing power of who you are. I just got to chill. Okay. The attraction of, it's coming to you, the methods of the healing power of who you are. Remember what I told you about the testing period, temperance, going from a base metal to a precious metal. That is who you are. You are precious, baby. You are a precious metal. And you're going to draw that into your consciousness. You're going to realize that. I love it. Mental outcome at this time. Pleasure from the analyzing of your desires. This is just reiterating what I said before. It is fun to, when you let yourself do it, right? That's the part you have to get over, is the resistance to it, right? If you're a person who is a little bit skeptical about this kind of energy stuff, that non-believer energy, that's the hardest part. Once you get yourself past that, it is fun. It is so satisfying. And like I said, gratitude naturally develops. Appreciation is naturally there. You no longer feel that false matrix of lack energy on you, because you realize all you had to do is tune into what you want, get really specific. And the real trick here is to talk to that version of you who's got what you want, right? They hold the keys to your kingdom. So ask them how they got it. Ask them as many questions as you want. Like I said, my future self told me she talks to her future self all the time. So there is no limit to how many times you can do it. And the more you get into it, the more enjoyable it is. I call it my coffee time with future Therese. And I love it. And she takes me around our house, and I get to see my art studio. I love the clothes that she wears. I mean, she's just stunning to me. And I love hanging out with her. And I hope that you give yourself that experience too. And the physical action. Good times resulting from the perfectionism of your actions. Okay, this one's so tricky because that word perfection can be a trigger word. It can be a word that allows us to hold back. But what this really means is, I want to take you back to, again, that precise measurement in the temperance card. Right? We're not just splashing one liquid into another. No, we are gently and very consciously observing what we're doing. It's like you're making the perfect cake, right? And you got to measure this thing precisely. So you take your time. You look at the details. You don't rush yourself through this. And again, the more that you are devoting, it's devotional energy here. So more that I would change this, Perfectionism comes up with Virgo because that's one of Virgo's qualities. But I would say Virgo also is very devoted. And I want to change this word here to devotion. So good times resulting from the devotion of your actions. The more you are devoted to feeling good now, the more devoted you are to calling in the highest timeline for you, the more that you are devoted to being that graceful, compassionate, loving person, the better it feels, and life just keeps getting better and better despite the hoo-ha out there. No, because it's all in here. It's all in here. This is what's creating what we're seeing. Because remember, there are things happening, but there's also a projection from our mind onto it. It's a story we tell ourselves, and that story is what gets altered as we alter our focus. So that's where your superpower comes in. And the more you can get into that devotion, the better it's going to feel. I hope you enjoyed this message. I'm sending you so much love. I can't wait for you to meet future you and feel how good it feels to know just how incredibly precious you are. Mwah. Thank you for watching. Subscribe now and hit the notification bell so that you know the next time I release a new video. Until then, stay magical.